Hola, un
It's a
placer
pleasure to be
para
with
mí
you. My
estar
name is Jessica Mizrachi.
acá
I was
compartiendo
born in
con
the suburbs
ustedes
in
un
Panama
poquito
City,
de mí.
province of
Yo
Panama.
soy Jessica
I have a large
Mizrachi,
family. My parents are
panameña.
very caring and hardworking.
Trabajé en primaria
During my
y
years in
también en
primary
otros
school, I went to
escuelas.
two different schools.
Como
My
había
parents had some
comentado en
economic
una de
problems, and my
nuestras
brother and I had to move
visitas
from
cuando
Americana
estábamos,
school to a public school.
les explico un
I
poquito.
remember that my experience
Veníamos de
at this
abajo.
public school wasn't
Mis papás
enjoyable at
tuvieron
all.
una
Even though
vida
my family was
difícil en
struggling
esos
just
años y
having
tuvieron
enough
que
money to
sacar de
keep
la
going,
escuela, de la
we would still have a little more than those
americana,
other
tuvieron que pasar
students
a nuestra
studying
casa.
in this public school.
Ese año en la escuela
I was being
pública
bullied at
realmente no
school.
fue nada
Kids would
agradable.
call me names
Primero
saying
porque
that I was the
venía de una
rich
escuela
girl, the
privada
girl who was able
y
to eat
segundo
breakfast,
porque
because many of these kids
aunque
didn't have
teníamos
the money to have
bastantes
breakfast or
limitaciones,
eat
teníamos un
lunch.
poquito
I
más
noticed a huge
de
difference when I
estudiantes
started
que
classes in Badi
participaban, que
School.
asistían
The
a la
kids, the
escuela
teachers, and everyone in the
pública.
school would show that they
Luego
actually
me
cared about me.
catalogaban siempre como la que
I
tenía,
felt happy because I
como
was able
la
to feel
que
like
podía
I was in a
hacer
big
algo
family
más,
that
la que
wanted to
podía
support
comer,
me
la que
and also cared about
podía
me.
desayunar, por
And I'm
ejemplo,
not just talking
porque
about the
muchos de los
principal of the
niños
school, but
ni
also
siquiera
about my
podían desayunar,
classmates
ni
and
siquiera
teachers
podían
in Badi
almorzar.
School.
Estaba, digamos, económica lo que era el
The first day
precio
we
real
went to
de
Badi
lo que es
School
colegio.
was the day
Era
that we wanted to
dinero,
go
íbamos
check
a la
by
escuela
ourselves and
y
know a
nos
little more
recibió
about
a
the
mí y a mi
school.
hermano, que fuimos los que
The
entramos a la
first person
escuela,
who
de una
received
manera
us in a
muy
very
cariñosa,
affectionate
que nos
way
llamaban
was
Loti,
Mama Loti,
con el
which is the nickname
reportero,
that the
como le
students
decían
gave to the
nosotros
principal
los
of the school.
estudiantes, que
While I was in
pues
school, she was
trataba
always
de
very caring and
discutir
thoughtful and made all the
diferencias del
students feel
colegio.
welcome.
Siempre vi que estuvo muy
We also had
atenta, que
Papa
nos hacía
Oscar,
sentir
who would
bienvenidos.
always keep an eye on us to
Mamá
make sure
Loti
we
era, por
behaved
un
the right
lado,
way.
cariñosa y
They would
atenta,
always guide
y
all the
por el otro
students
lado
with love, which made
mantenía
me feel as though we were a
su paso
family
firme.
in which both parts were working
Em,
together for the same goal.
de niña rayaba mucho cualquier papel que me encontrara. Me gustaba
As a
comer
child, I would
dulces,
love to scribble
pintar,
on any kind of
y
paper
así
that
me
I had
hacía todos mis
available, and I
cuadernos.
also
Al
loved to
igual
create
que
designs for my
todas las
books and
manualidades que me
notebooks
habían
covers.
enseñado.
I
Era
also learned a
algo
few
que
handicrafts, and I had
tranquilamente
art books that I
nos
used in
habían
primary
mostrado ya
school.
otras personas en
But
el
up until
colegio.
then, I never had the
Al
chance to
menos puse
paint
a
or draw
objetos de
anything but
arte,
my
¿no?
own.
Pero
When I first
al
started
principio de la
in Badi
materia
School, I noticed that they
me costaba
presented
un poco,
arts a
digamos,
little more
hacer los
intense than what
proyectos
other schools would
de arte
provide to
como
their
tal.
students, which could be compared and
Algunos
matched to the
alumnos
level
fue
of
más
a
fácil
professional
realizar los
art school.
proyectos,
To be honest,
pero
at the
era
beginning, I felt it was
sorprendente
kind of hard to
bien
get through
encontrado
all the new
porque aunque el
content for
profesor me
each one of the
decía,
art projects that
estabas
we were
realizando bien
assigned.
el proyecto, yo
The
no me
next year,
sentía
I
muy
felt it was a
contenta
little
con
bit
el
easier and
proyecto.
I was able
No
to do
sentía que
better,
estaba
but I had
completo,
some
yo
mixed
sentía que el
feelings.
profesor nada más me decía,
Even though the teacher
está
would
bien,
tell me that I was
y
doing
yo
a good
ni me
job, I
sintiera
didn't
mal,
feel that my work
pero
was
no
that
me
good.
enfocaba en que
I
yo
felt
estaba
it was not
entregando
enough, and I
las
thought
cosas
the
bien.
teacher would
La
just say
motivación
kind
antes
words
de
about
llegar
my
a las
paintings
clínicas
so that I
de
wouldn't feel
Badi,
bad. I would still
donde
feel
doy la
as though I was
experiencia de
not
las
doing as much as I
técnicas, lo
could,
que
and I
era
kept working
versos
hard to get better.
los pasteles.
I noticed that I
Para la
really enjoyed the
técnica
experience of
estábamos
being
más
able to be a
avanzados y
tutor
nos
and teach the
ayudábamos con
same techniques I
iniciantes
learned
a
last year.
ayudar, digamos, a los
I
estudiantes que
became
estaban
an assistant of
comenzando
the
por
art
ver que lo
teacher, and I helped guiding
estaba
kids
haciendo
with their
bien, que la
projects.
técnica era correcta.
This experience also
Que
made
me
me
convertí,
realize that I
digamos, en
wanted
una
to
como de los
learn as much as
ayudantes del profesor
possible, which
Oscar.
drew my attention towards learning
Y
more about
esto me
painting.
dio como el valor de creando
I remember
combinaciones
back then, I would
técnicas,
wait till break
presentándolo en una
time to talk to the
materia o
teacher and
después en
ask him
recreo
about
cuando yo le
materials and
preguntaba,
techniques.
profesor, mire, ¿cómo le parece esto? Bueno, de esta forma me di cuenta que mi malestar en los primeros años, la forma en cómo no me sentía también con mis cuadros, era solamente porque me
Once
estaba
I started to
volviendo
learn
muy
more about
perfeccionista.
painting, I had a few
Claro, en ese
flashbacks,
tiempo
and I remembered
no
back when
estaba
I
muy
felt that my art
ganada.
was not good enough,
Quería
and I noticed that,
plasmarlo,
in
pero
fact,
todavía
it
no
was not
tenía
because
el
I was bad at
tiempo y la
all,
técnica
but it was actually
para
because I was
poder
becoming more
plasmar
of a
las
perfectionist.
diferentes
My eyes would
técnicas
see
con los
something and
diferentes
check the
niveles para
details of
poder
it, but I didn't
permitir
have the
llegar a
knowledge
ese
or the
nivel.
techniques to be able to
Esto
portray what I
también
was looking
ayudó
at.
fuera, digamos,
So I
lo que
worked
es el
hard to
pie
improve
para que
myself and learn
pudiera
even more,
enseñar arte.
which actually helped me to
Porque
realize
como yo
that
iba a
art
los
would always
años,
be a part of
me
my
gustaba
life.
también
Seeing the
enseñar.
joy the students
Y no solamente
experienced
el
while
hecho de
learning new
tener cuadros,
skills
sino que
inspired me to
cuando
want to become
yo
an
les
art teacher.
enseñaba, y
I didn't
eso
help them paint their
también
pictures,
fue
they were
uno
actually
de los
painting by
motivos más
themselves
grandes
with the
por los
knowledge
cuales
that I was
realmente
tutoring and teaching. I'm
no
so grateful
solamente
to
lo
Badi
aprendí en la
School
escuela,
to give
sino
me
que
such an
estoy
opportunity,
agradecida
which
por
helped me to
darme
find
esa
what I really
oportunidad.
wanted to do.
He siempre sido una persona muy activa activa, muy dinámica, siempre había estado con 2 o 3
While I
actividades
was
al
at
mismo
school, I used
tiempo,
to have three or
y
more
parte
activities at the
de lo
same
que
time. I used to be
normalmente
very
hacía
active and
precisamente
dynamic.
para el tiempo
When I was
de
working on
colegio
art
cuando
projects, there were times that
era
I had an
poder
image in my
por
head that I wanted to
música,
paint,
donde
but
mi
some other
cerebro
times I
dejara,
felt I wanted to
donde
create, but
fluyera
I couldn't just get it
solamente
out.
para
I
poder
needed something
saber
to
qué
help me
era
get
la
this
parte
feeling out of
creativa
me,
que
to help
venía a
me
mi cabeza
channel what I had inside
cómo,
of myself.
sacaba
I remember back then my classmates and I were trying to come up with something to paint for our art project, but we couldn't come up with anything. I thought about playing some classical music on my phone, and all of a sudden I felt ideas start to flow, and I was able to express myself with my paintings. Since then, I would always use classical music every time I started to work on a painting so that I could relax and just let it flow. I felt that somehow, by using classical music, I was able to project the art that I had enclosed inside of myself.
Yo gané unas premiaciones estando en el colegio. Recuerdo una bailarina de flamenco.
I won a few contests while I was in Badi School. I remember back then a painting of a flamenco dancer. She was beautiful. She had this amazing dance pose. She had a flower on her hair, and her fan and shoes were red. When we started to paint and check all the small details, I noticed that the shoe of my flamenco dancer somehow was wrong. I remember that I went directly to the teacher and said, "Teacher, I think there is something wrong with my dancer's shoe." And the teacher, Oscar, said, "Yes, indeed, the shoe needs some correction, and you can proceed to fix it." I tried to fix it, and once I finished, I took a few steps away from the paint to double check, and I noticed that it was still wrong. I tried several times, making corrections again and again, but still no use. The shoe would still have a mistake that I couldn't correct. I even worked the dancer's foot and her leg for about 1 week. I discovered what the main problem was. I actually took the dancer's pose out of different sections taken from different images that I used as a reference and saw that the dancer's pose felt unnatural. So I asked my classmates to serve as a model, and I told them to try to replicate this flamenco dancer's posture in order to find where to fix details. I asked my teacher Oscar 1,000 times to help me check my painting until I was able to completely fix the dancer's leg, foot, and shoe the way it was supposed to be. That same year, Badi School had an art gallery set in University of Panama. The architecture students from this university, alongside the Badi School students, were having this art expo. All the painters in this expo were also participating in an art contest, and my painting won the first prize. The award was labeled as Quality and Best Details, and it made me so happy that my effort and dedication was recognized by the judges and everyone who attended this art expo.
Otra premiación que fue muy importante, bueno, todas las premiaciones son importantes, ¿verdad? Pero
There's one award that I consider to be very important, the Panama Young Artist Award 2005, which was given by the National Institute of Art and Culture from Panama. I received this award because I was the youngest artist to fulfill an art gallery exhibition with 42 of my paintings, and it was held in a renowned library named Excedra Books. During these years, another girl received the same award, but she was older than me, and she had less paintings being shown in her art exhibition. So up until now, I still hold the title as the youngest artist in Panama. Another very important award that I received back then was the Roberto Lewis Special Edition celebrating 100 years of the Panama Canal in 2014. I won a contest with my painting being named as the official painting of the Panama Canal, and it was considered as historical heritage, representing the history of Panama Canal, which is still being shown in the Panama Canal Administration Building, and sometimes they exhibit it in the National Institute of Art and Culture from Panama. The same year, 2014, the National Environmental Authority started an art contest, and its topic was deforestation. I also won this contest, and I was selected to fly to San Salvador to represent Panama in this special modern environmental movement activity, in which they had several topics including deforestation and the environment. I went there to represent Panama, and my painting was sent to San Salvador's museum, and it is still there now.
Una vez salí del colegio con mi bachiller en ciencias. Bueno, me entregaron un diplomado en artes ahí mismo por haber completado.
As soon as I graduated from school, the Ministry of Education gave me an art diploma, and I started my graphic design, marketing, and advertising bachelor's degree. I chose this degree because even though it's not directly linked with fine arts, it was still very related to it. Afterwards, I took my education specialist degree and master's degree in professional higher education. I also got 2 different certifications, art therapy certification and positive thinking. Currently, I'm pursuing a Bachelor of Arts degree, which unfortunately has been difficult due to the pandemic.
A mí me complace mucho el hecho de ver las sonrisas de las personas,
I have to admit that
Escuchar esos
studying in the
padres de
university and
familia
teaching at the same time is
comentando,
very
oye,
hard,
qué
but I
bien
feel that
hiciste
the reward
trabajo.
of joy that I get from
El
my
hecho de
students
que el
learning little by
estudiante
little and their
logre
parents showing how
ver
happy they are to see
dando
their
ese
kids'
curso,
improvement
dándole
is something
ese
that fills my
taller o
heart.
esa clase,
I still provide summer
pueden
classes in Badi
realmente,
School,
aunque
except now
normalmente
the
tengo mis
classes are
cursos
online.
de verano, de hecho, y no solamente aquí
I
en
was
Panamá,
able to continue
sino que he
teaching
podido
in
sacar
Chiriquí,
a
Santiago, and
Chiriquí, he
also the
podido
Nabe
llevar
Bugli
a
region to
Santiago,
teach
he
about
podido
mixing
llevar a la
colors,
comarca
painting, and
Navidad
also
y
brainstorming how to use
mostrarles
art so that
la
they can earn money
importancia
for their
realmente de
community.
ese arte, lograr
I helped start a
crear
House of
una
Art and Culture
casa
in
de
Saloy,
arte y
where
cultura
students can
en
learn more about
Soloy
arts and how
para
to
que
use
de
the
ahí
materials that they can
pudieran,
find around them in
digamos,
nature, how
realizar
to
más
combine colors to
obras,
use this knowledge when
realizar con los
creating their
materiales que
traditional
ellos
clothes.
encontraban, con otro tipo
I
de
also taught
comunidad.
at
Cuando
schools for
uno
children with
hace
special needs. I felt
una
so much
clase
happiness to see these kids
especialmente para esas
smiling, learning, and
personas
having a
con
great time with
capacidades
art.
especiales y que toda su vida cambie y tome un entorno
All these
totalmente
experiences
diferente a lo
provide
que estaba
satisfaction,
encaminado,
especially when I can feel that I was able to
son
make a
cosas que
difference and change people's
uno
lives for
logra
the better.
hacer que
I think
este
that there is
tipo de
no way someone can start
movimiento
this artistic project
ante
if you
la
don't have it
comunidad.
in your heart.
Bueno, yo creo que me gustaría poder decirles lo que estoy planeando hacer, lo que estoy queriendo realizar
In
a
the near future,
futuro.
I'm planning to get a place to
Estoy
develop APG, Art
organizando,
Paint
estoy
Gallery,
armando un lugar específico para poder
a
tener
place where people can go to
esos
feel comfortable,
cursos de
a place where
arte,
they can go to
volverlo
express
un poquito
themselves
más
and let their
real,
creativity flow, the same way
tenerlos
I do,
a esas personas, a esos
and provide
participantes,
them with the right tools
donde
so that they
nosotros,
can
los
learn and grow
artistas,
their love for
podamos
art.
buscar
I
esas
want them to always
herramientas
look
y
forward and never
aplicarlas,
look back,
esas
and show them how
herramientas
much they
para
can
que ellos
improve their
logren
lives with a
hacer
life changing
ese
experience.
cambio
I want
y
to
al momento de
replicate the
que ellos
same
empiezan
experience
a
I had in
pintar y
the Nabe
desarrollar su
Bugle
arte,
region and get this idea to
realmente
other
un
regions here in
cambio
Panama or
total
even
que
internationally
hacen
if
los
possible.
estudiantes. Así que la
Thank you for this
oportunidad
wonderful
que
opportunity to
hemos
share
tenido
my
y que han
experience with you
tomado
and
mi
to also
cámara
express
para esta
myself.
presentación. Muchas gracias.